We are live and where's the script?
I said we are live.
Yeah. I'm crazy because on the chat it says, are we live? And then you're going, ha ha ha.
Oh,
Right, darling.
Hello, everyone. You are locked into Let's Be Real, the most open and raw mental health podcast around. We hope you're all well and coping in this crazy time we're going through right now. As you may have seen, this is our very first podcast episode. We're so excited to talk all things mental health in this series.
Mental health is a very important topic, and we feel talking about it openly and confidently with you guys should be completely normal and comfortable for everyone, which is exactly what we're going to be doing right now with you.
Yeah, it's really all about keeping our minds healthy as we go through this thing we like to call life. So as most of you guys know, this episode will be a Q&A style. We asked you to send us some of your questions that you'd like answering in this episode, and we got a massive response, so thank you so much.
We will be completely open and truthful with you guys. We both believe opening up is one of the biggest factors in conquering mental health, and we talk from experience. So I really hope it encourages you guys to do the same.
100%. I'm quite an open person when it comes to my own experiences, but unfortunately, a lot of people aren't, and it can be hard for people, especially those with mental health. So I really do hope listening to this, being as real and raw about ours, makes you realise you aren't alone in this. So let's get into it.
So we selected our favourite questions and grouped them into the relevant categories. The first one we're talking about here is physical health. So G, the first question is, what have your sleeping and eating habits been like since the coronavirus pandemic? Have you noticed any changes or difficulty sleeping at night?
Right, the first question. So, to be honest, it hasn't really changed my sleeping pattern that much because I am quite a irregular sleeper, as you like to say. So,
Yeah.
waking up later, but only because it's hard to find motivation to get up when there's nothing to do. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Literally, what are you getting ready for?
Yeah.
So my sleeping habits at the beginning of lockdown were pretty odd. I was going to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning and then waking up at 8 a.m. So I wasn't really getting any sleep at all. But because I got so used to this pattern, I didn't seem to be tired.
Yeah.
The UG saying to me literally like, how are you functioning?
Yeah, you'd always like get up really early and go to bed late.
Yeah, but then I started getting up really late and I felt like I was wasting the day, and I genuinely just felt so agitated and itchy that I just had to start getting up.
Yeah.
I'm back in my routine. I go to bed no later than say 12 and I'm waking up no later than 10, and I honestly feel so much better about myself.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
My eating habits have got quite lazy. I do tend to snack a lot now throughout the day, but I've definitely been eating healthier when it comes to meals and stuff and cooking a lot more. And I think that's just because of how much time we have now. I have the time to actually sit and indulge and, make nice things.
Yeah, it's perfect time, isn't it, if you want to go on a diet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So the next listener wrote in and said, I had an injury years ago which left me dealing with physical pain on a daily basis. This really affects my mental health. Have you guys been, let me start that again. Have any of you guys been in a similar situation, and how did you cope mentally? So I'll let G take the reins on this question because I know she's been in a similar situation.
Ah, thank you. So yeah, that is a really good question actually. So when I was about 14, I found out I had a condition called scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine. And if it's really bad, you have to have major spinal surgery. So as you can kind of see, this growing up was hard to accept. My body was changing in a horrible way. I underwent surgery eventually at the age of about 17. And that took a good year out of my life. So it challenged a lot of my insecurities. So it made me feel insecure, depressed, and even got to the stage where I was starting to be a bit obsessed with my body. So I'm still learning to love my massive scar down my back and my noticeably larger right rib cage. But it's all just about practicing self-love, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I would never have known that about you though, G, unless you actually told me. You can't tell, other than the scar, that you've had anything like that done.
Yeah, I mean, it is starting to come back a bit, so that has knocked my mental health recently. I'm not even gonna lie. I've noticed in the past couple of 6 months, it's starting to get a bit more curving and stuff, but like I said, it's just all a journey of self-love, isn't it?
So what would happen if that actually did come back? Would you have to just undergo surgery again?
Yeah, I think so. Majority of people have to have it done again. So it's like 50% would have to have a second operation.
Wow.
So not good, not good. But like I said, you just got to tell yourself you're good and you look good, and that's how I coped with it, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I haven't had an injury or anything like that as such, but I did have an operation on my knee not so long ago, and it is that shown me actually that it is so easy to get down when you're bedbound, you've nothing to do. But I would say to just make sure you're keeping yourself stimulated, whether that be, writing things down, drawing, whatever you've got to do, just keep your brain active, talk to friends on FaceTime, and just make sure you're getting yourself some fresh air. I know that can be difficult if you're injured, but even if it's just opening the windows wide, just make sure you're getting some fresh air into your room. And I think that will help a lot. It did me.
That's a really good one with the fresh air. So
Yeah.
it's my turn. Now we have everything about autonomy, choice, and control. So basically, we're getting to the nitty gritty, Jaden. So this question is: during the last few weeks, how have you felt in yourself in reference to your moods and your life? And do you feel things are in a good place or not? Why?
Okay, so during quarantine, my mood has been really up and down, to be honest. At first, I was really happy. I wasn't minding lockdown so much. I seemed to be like really talkative with my friends. I had quite a lot to do considering I was in the house. But then it seemed like a lot of things were just going wrong in my life and a lot of bad things were happening in the world. And I just seemed to just take a steep down and I just felt really low. And I was noticing this about myself and I could see myself just going downwards. So I made a conscious effort to actually keep myself uplifted. And I would still say I'm the same now, to be honest. Like, I don't feel happy, I'd say. I just feel like I'm trying to keep myself positive with everything going on.
It's just good to know that everyone is kind of in the same boat, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
So how about you for that?
well, we're here to be honest. So I think I have my days where I could honestly say I'm dealing deeply with my mental health issues, such as anxiety. But however, I'd say recently I have learned to control them. So I'm not talking just coronavirus time. I'm talking the past year. So what I mean by this is I've simply, in a nutshell, learned what triggers my negative feelings and how I can manage this calmly. So me, I can manage my negative thoughts and feelings by keeping busy, which you've been mentioning, Shaden.
Yeah.
A massive one for me is actually being content in my environment. So feeling safe, feeling snuggly, just feeling at home, and just telling yourself you are good enough, you can do this, whatever you're facing.
That's an interesting one, that you feel like you have to feel content with where you are.
I know. I feel like this hasn't really been spoken about in any mental health talks or discussions. But to me, it's really weird. Like, I can't go out and maybe stay at a person's house because I have to feel happy in my environment. And when I do that, that is when I am the most happiest in my little, well, whatever anybody's environment can be. That's how I feel the happiest.
Have you always been like that as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that.
Body.
Okay. So the next question is, have you ever had any overwhelming feelings of worry and been bothered by not being able to stop your worrying? The person who asked this question said they feel like they worry about simple tasks more than the average person.
Oh, okay. Well, every time, to be honest, I'm bothered by my ability of wondering why I haven't been able to control them that certain day. And I'm always thinking, is it going to be like this again tomorrow? But it isn't. And that's just something I've had to learn throughout the years.
Yeah, it is difficult to get yourself into that mindset, isn't it, though?
Yeah, it is really hard. But once you notice the pattern and notice that you have good days and you have bad days and they're balanced, then it kind of makes you feel like you've got a bit of a light at the end of your tunnel, having your bad days.
So for me, I think, to be honest, it's just part of who I am. I worry about decisions and things to the point where I stress myself out so much and I feel physically sick. And I hate this about myself, to be honest. I'm so indecisive. Gee, as my friend, I'm so indecisive. But it is something that I'm aware of and I'm working on, because I hate getting myself so worked up over the littlest things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying my hardest now to stop that.
it's good that you've noticed it, because once you can notice a pattern in your behavior or your emotions, that's when you can start to change it, isn't it?
And better yourself. Like, that's all you can do, really.
Yeah. Okay, so hope and hopelessness. So, Shaden, have you ever been in a situation and felt as though your mental health was never going to get better, so as though you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel? And if so, what did you do to get yourself better?
Yeah, so I feel like I've been in a few situations like this, but the most prominent and the one that sticks out the most for me is when I was suffering with a disorder called HPPD, which I suffered with really bad for about a year. Now, not a lot of people have heard about this
I was
disorder.
going to say, what is that then, Shay?
So it's a hallucinating, persisting, perceptive disorder by name. And it's when you'll just be, living your life as normal, but you'll start getting hallucinations and just stressing, worrying, hot flushes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to it, and it really took over my life. And I didn't go out. I didn't see my friends. G, you was my friend while I was dealing through this. You did not see me once, did you, when I
No.
this?
And
And what was that, G?
kind of makes you think like, does that person not like me and stuff? But you just got to understand, don't you, what you're going through.
Like, a lot of my friends did really get frustrated with me because they felt like I didn't want to see them, but I just physically couldn't put myself in a situation where I was going to get these feelings. I just felt very vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see it getting better, and I don't actually know how I stopped it and how I actually got better, but I tried loads of things, and the biggest thing that probably helped me was actually forcing myself to do things. Because I kept turning down motives, and I would constantly just was saying, no, I don't want to go out. But forcing myself to actually go out and write things down if I was getting stressed, that really, really helped me. And I think I just distracted myself enough that I weren't thinking about it. And before I knew it, it wasn't happening to me, and I didn't even notice.
Yeah. That's kind of similar what I went through and how I coped with the thing that I went through. So I got addicted to an antidepressant, and I relied on it badly actually to fix my social anxiety. But obviously, like Shay, for relying on it for so long, it made me believe I was never going to be a normal person without it. So it was so hard to, it was actually the hardest time of my life, one of the hardest times of my life, to get clean and face life being this vulnerable. So being this social, weird, awkward person. So like you, I had to just throw myself in these situations to overcome them. And that's, to be honest, that is how I learned to be happy without them.
Yeah.
It's just throwing yourself in these situations in the deep end, and there's only one way up, and that's up, isn't it?
100%.
So, what can we do? Self-perception next, Shay. So this topic is actually more related to confidence and self-esteem. So the listener wants to know, how confident in ourselves are we? So how have we been feeling recently in terms of your appearance and capabilities?
So, to be honest, all throughout this time in lockdown, I felt so awful about myself. I've just not felt good. My skin's been horrible. I just haven't liked the way I look, but I think it has got a lot to do with the fact that we are in lockdown and we're not getting ready because we've got nowhere to go. So everyone kind of feels like it, and I do have to keep remembering that.
Yeah.
I haven't always been the kind of person that, sits there and dwells on their appearance and things like that. I kind of just get on with things. So I am sure I'll be fine once everything's back to normal and we're in a routine again. I think just because we're all off and we've got nowhere to go, and you do kind of feel like, about yourself. So I think that's all it is.
I think it's a lot easier when you're feeling like that to know that everyone else is in the same situation as you, because every beauty shop, retail shop is closed. We can't do things to make ourselves feel better, whether that's getting your hair done, going for a massage. So I think everybody is probably feeling the same kind of way, which makes you feel a bit more better, to be honest.
Yeah.
So this is about relationships and having a sense of belonging. So, Shaden, could you describe how supported you feel by others around you? This could be in terms of your mental health and emotions, so your friends, family, or otherwise.
Yeah. So I would say I'm definitely supported, and I know that if I needed the support, it's there from my friends and family. You know, I know I've got certain family members that I can go to no matter what. Certain friends like yourself, G, I know I could come to you with whatever. But I just feel like I am the kind of person who suffers in silence, and I do tend to keep everything bottled up until it gets too much for me, and then suddenly I'll just explode and let it all out. And this is definitely not the right way to deal with things, and I am trying to change that about myself because it really isn't good. Talking is definitely the way forward in conquering mental health. It's not good to bottle things up. So
that's what we're trying to promote in our episodes as well, isn't it? Just being
yeah,
open, being real, and letting everyone else get the chance to do that, so we can all come together and not just think of this taboo of mental health.
exactly. Like even myself, like I'm doing what everybody else does and keeping it all in, and it's no good. So hopefully we'll all kind of start talking about mental health as if it's the most normal thing in the world, because it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, I think, as you know, Shay, you always used to tell me not everyone needs to know everything about you, G.
Yeah.
And that's, I am quite like, when I get, because I have social anxiety, once I get
talking,
I just override everything, don't I?
you overspill your business.
So, like for me, my friends and family are just the people to turn to.
Yeah.
And there's a few friends and family that don't understand mental health and still do see it as a bit of a myth or a taboo.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. I can go to them for other things. But like I said, there's a nice support of people around me that I can go to.
Yeah, everyone has their own journey, don't they? We've just discovered our mental health earlier and that we need to talk about it. And I'm sure they will eventually, but obviously everyone does things in their own time.
Yeah.
Right. So the next question is, do you feel comfortable discussing your mental health with these people, or would you... Okay, let me read that again. So the next question is, do you feel comfortable discussing your mental health with these people, or would you prefer to reach out to an unrelated or professional link?
So if you had asked me this question about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have said there's no way I would go to a professional, so a doctor or therapist, because I used to just be afraid of what people used to think about me if that was on my record. I didn't want to accept if I had a mental health issue. I didn't want to accept it at all. But when I went through the hard time of getting off my antidepressants, I actually reached out to a lot of charities and support for dealing with what I was going through, and that just made me put my pride aside. And if you ask me that question now, I would 100% say I would go to a therapist or professional. What about you?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that you didn't want it on your record and things like that. And I feel like a lot of people have that mindset, like they're embarrassed of their mental health.
100%.
And
because only up till now are people talking about mental health so openly, as if it's not a weird thing or you're not a madhead.
Yeah, especially for men as well.
Yeah. So what would you say? Do you feel comfortable talking to people or professionals?
So as I say, I am quite a private person. So I think with me, it would just be depending on the situation, because I know that I can 100% go to certain family members and I could come to you with whatever, but I don't know, it would just depend on what the actual thing is that I need to talk about, because sometimes I feel like I would 100% feel more comfortable talking to an unrelated link, just because I know I'm never going to see them again, and I'd probably just feel less judged, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I know that's probably all in my head and I would not get judged by my family and friends, but you know.
I see exactly what you mean. That's how I felt with regards to the going to the doctor. So there we have it, Shay. The quiz is officially over. So I really enjoyed it. How did you find it?
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good to actually open up and talk about things. I hope it encourages everyone listening to do the same. That's the most important part.
Yes. So I just want to thank everybody. So thank you so much, guys. If you like this video, do not forget to keep an eye out in the next couple of weeks for episode 2. So that's all we'll be talking about: men's mental health, how to spot your negative feelings, and of course we have interviewed a few people, professionals, so we've got a bit of their advice as well. Please feel free to leave a comment with a review to see how well we did and what you want more from us. See ya. Bye. How long was that?
Right, let's have a look. It was...
What? long, isn't it?
Oh, it's added onto the other one, so I'm not sure.
Oh.
I think it would be about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I knew this one was going to be longer. Well, it's all right. I'll just take away the shit parts and just like, the big, like hefty information ones that we've got.
Yeah, I looked at it then and it said 40 minutes. I was like, what?
Yeah, mine says 40 minutes, but that's just cool.
Yeah, it's added it on.
Okay, so.
Not bad though, G.
I know, it actually seemed all right, didn't it?
Yeah, I hope the sound's all right though.
I mean, it's obviously not the best, but we're not even going to use it, so it's not even that bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like,
Imagine though if we actually needed to use it.
Oh God, if we did have to do this for real, we would have had to practice this so many times.
Oh, no,
We get to just edit it and crop things out.